Howdy folks, and welcome back once again to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and today's video is all about luck. Now, I'm not saying that the two players involved in today's video were just lucky. They weren't. They obviously know how to drive their tanks, but they like to take the occasional chance or two, and in today's video, those chances are all going to pay off. First up, we have Rocketor here in the T-71 American Tier 7 light tank. It's equipped with a 76mm autoloader. Although it has only a 76mm gun, it does have armour-piercing composite rigid ammunition as standard, so it's quite a high penetration 76mm gun, but it's still just a 76mm gun, and thanks to that scout matchmaking, this is a tier 10 game. And you know what happens if you're playing World of Tanks, you're not top tier and you get spotted. You get shot at, particularly if you're in a light tank. That's not bad luck, of course, that's just World of Tanks, that's the way it goes. And Rocketor is doing some very aggressive initial active spotting here. Nothing seen so far over here on the western corridor end of the map, but as he crests this ridge there's a T-57 heavy who has absolutely nothing to worry about from anybody because there are two tier 8 heavies with him, so they're going to get shot at first. Of course, now that Rocketor has in turn been spotted, he's going to start attracting some fire as well. Yep, there it is. I think that was from the T-32 who's got himself hull down on the ridge over there. Nobody has yet taken advantage of Rocketor's spotting because he did get up here very, very quickly and artillery was still getting into position, but you can guarantee that once artillery turns their guns around they're going to be looking at that T-32 and getting all tingly in their trousers in anticipation of some big juicy damage numbers. Oh Jingles, that's not fair. The artillery don't have anything else to shoot at. Well, they don't at the moment, but just you wait. Who's willing to bet against me that the T-57 heavy is the last thing that the artillery shoot at? Any takers? No, I didn't think so. Meanwhile, a VK pops up, and there is also an IS-3 over there, we just haven't seen him yet. So that's 3 tier 8 heavy tanks, 1 tier 9 heavy tank, and 1 tier 10 autoloading heavy tank. And under normal circumstances, if you were to throw a tier 7 light tank into the middle of this slot, they would be fighting each other to be the ones to put shots into you. And yet, they just don't pay him any attention whatsoever. Friendly artillery there. Just shaved another 1200 health off one of the tier 8 heavies, and since these guys were paying no attention whatsoever to Rocketor, he goes around again for another go. VK's not shooting at him, IS-3's not shooting at him, none of those guys are shooting at him. And artillery still going for the tier 8 heavies. T-57's just sitting there killing things, hasn't taken a single point of damage yet, and the artillery are still desperately trying to knock out those very, very dangerous tier 8 heavy tanks. T-110E5 pops up from the rear, finishes off the VK, and artillery have a choice of shooting at the T-57 heavy or the VK-100-01. Of course they go for the VK-100-01, because artillery aren't allowed to shoot at dangerous tanks until all the harmless tanks are dead. Suddenly, Rocketor's cloaking device fails him because the VK is actually aware that he's here and tries to take a shot at him. And I had visions of Rocketor being team killed here as artillery trying to shave the last 100 health off this VK. But Rocketor does get the kill, and it's only now that artillery are forced to actually start shooting at the T-57 heavy, but not before he manages to kill another tank, and then the T-92 hits him with an armour-piercing shell and basically one-shots him. Now come on, I know what you're thinking, but don't look at the T-92 like that, it's not his fault, he doesn't make the rules. He's not allowed to shoot at tier 10 heavies that are busy killing all of his teammates when there are tier 8 and 9 heavies around for him to farm damage on. Oh, that IS-3's still alive. And also just spotted for a fraction of a second there over on the other side of the map an Object 140 tier 10 medium who only has 80 health remaining. But the Object 140 doesn't have anything to worry about. As long as there's an IS-3 been detected, nobody's going to be shooting at the Object 140, 80 health remaining or not. Rocketor, fully loaded and ready to go, and taking a very, very wide berth around that IS-3's position as he tries to find the enemy artillery. Still can't believe that so far only 3 tanks have taken shots at him. And oh, there's the GW Tiger P. And he is aware that he's been found, but there's nothing he can do about it. And he's going to go down on the 4th shot. So, and Rocketor's also spotted the T-92, who takes a desperate shot at him, but merely hits the wreckage of the GW Tiger P. With 2 shots remaining, Rocketor's not chasing this guy down, he's just going to try to keep him spotted, and bang, there we go, taken out by friendly artillery. There's the IS-3, and bingo, he's spotted the final enemy artillery, the M40, but he did get spotted in return. I'm not sure if it was the M40 who spotted him, or the IS-3. Now you can guarantee that that M40 is swinging his gun around to shotgun the tier 7 light tank, so rather than risk that, Rocketor pumped some shots into this IS-3 instead, and it was the right decision because the M40's been taken out by the AT-15 and the T-28 prototype is just about to rumble over the hill and does get the killing blow on the IS-3. So now there are only 3 enemy tanks remaining. The most dangerous of those 3 is of course the Type 61, a very capable Japanese Tier 9 medium tank. But for some bizarre reason, this particular Type 61, who already has 1 kill to his name, has decided that he does not want to stay concealed in the Magic Forest with the backup and support of his 2 surviving teammates. Instead, he's decided he wants to go jousting with an AT-15, because hey, why the hell not? Just for the sheer joy of driving in the open across a killing zone in front of the guns of the entire enemy team in a very, very badly armoured Tier 9 medium tank. I mean, well, I don't know, you come up with an explanation. it's as good a one as any. Anyway, 2 tanks left. You know, when you're in this kind of situation, when there's only 3 of you left and you're outnumbered 2-1, you can still pull it back if you stick together. But no, these guys all thought, teamwork's for hipsters. I'm just going to be sitting over here, doing my own thing, fighting off 6 enemy tanks at once. Because, hey, why not? I was bored, I had nothing better to do. I didn't want to win anyway. Last enemy tank, Panther 88, and he clearly needs to be reported for hacking. He's a Tier 8 tank in a Tier 10 match, and he still has all of his health as the last tank surviving on the team. Clearly employing cheats of some description. And remember, in this kind of situation, it does not pay to get too close to the last surviving enemy tank, as artillery fire not once but twice into a close quarters combat melee between light tanks and medium tanks, not caring who they hit. And Rocketor, robbed of his 5th kill there by the Panther 88's premium fire extinguisher, but hey, props to the Panther 88 because he's the only player on the entire enemy team who could be bothered to do any damage to Rocketor, despite Rocketor's best attempts at committing suicide by heavy tank throughout this match. A pretty spectacular result there for Rocketor, due in no small part to the fact that hardly anybody on the enemy team could be bothered to shoot at him. It was just too much effort for them, with the exception of the Panther 88 at the end. Still, I suspect he's not complaining. Next up, in today's second You Lucky Bastard replay, we have TJ Cat in the Batchat 25T, the original, and if you ask me, still the best, of the French Tier 10 medium tanks. Unfortunately, while it might be appropriate because he's in a French tank, you don't really want to be on the Paris map in a Batchat. Why is that, Jingles? Well, you see, in Wargaming's ever-continuing quest to make armour and therefore heavy tanks more relevant, and convince the guys in the Mouses and the E100s to stop hiding around corners and actually move forward, they brought us the Paris map. And it's basically a great big middle finger to anybody who doesn't have a lot of armour. Furthermore, if you're getting a little sick and tired of the corridor map meta in World of Tanks, you probably want to avoid the Paris map like the plague as well, because as you can see by looking at the mini-map, it's nothing but corridors. So a map pretty much designed for heavy tanks and for getting heavy tanks moving forward. Which is kind of ironic because, of course, what happens is that the heavy tanks all park themselves at one end of these corridors, angle around the corner of the nearest building and just camp hard and won't move. What can you do? Anyway, TJ Cat doesn't have time for any of that shit. TJ Cat charges forward, straight out of the starting blocks, spots not 1 but 2 Jagdpanzer E100s and a T110E4, immediately goes to brown alert and ducks into cover behind the nearest building. And who can blame him? But what happens next just defies all explanation. At first I thought he was taking a bit of a risk here, looking to shoot at the Jaegeru and the E4, but no, he's not quite that stupid or suicidal. Instead, he's angling up for some shots down here. He's waiting for enemy tanks to pass through that gap. And his patience is very quickly going to be rewarded by a KV-4. So, alright, the KV-4 took a hit, but he only took 1 hit, and then he reverses, and takes another one. And then he reverses, and takes another one. Seriously? Yes, that really did just happen. And no, I can't explain that one either. So, he's reloading, having done 1500 damage of his own and 500 spotting damage against an E75 when he takes a hit from a Lerva. And he's going for the artillery when he takes another very, very near miss from the T49 that hadn't been spotted and was covering the artillery but only got spotted when he fired the gun. Now he burns his repair kit in order to get moving again, and he's still reloading, ducks into cover, safe from the M40, safe from the T49, trying to get some flanking shots into this IS-7 and kill him and help out the AMX 1390, but he just can't quite reload quickly enough, so the IS-7 gets away with it. But his gun's loaded now, what's he going to do with it? There's an Object 261 on the street parallel to the street that he's driving along now, so he decides, yep, we're going to have him. He has, however, been spotted, so the Object 261, if he's paying attention, is going to know he's coming. And you know what those things are like? Well, not today, sunshine. And there is a Tiger II in hot pursuit. Now, he trades a bit of health with the Tiger II here, but he knows that if he hits and penetrates him with every shot, he's going to kill him. Tiger II disposed of. Now, what about that teeth? Oh, there he is. Well, that escalated quickly. So, well, he's reloading again, and so far he's had 3 doses of good luck. First, there was the KV-4, who very accommodatingly kept reversing up in order to give him the maximum possible number of shots at the side of his tank. Then there was the Object 261, who didn't manage to shotgun him as he drove around the corner of a city street right in front of him. And then as he finished off the Tiger II, there was the T-49, who very accommodatingly decided that he was sick of living and he was going to ram himself to death on the back of his tank. So, now that he's reloaded, he's looking for some flanking shots on these 2 Jaegeroos as an IS-3 attempts to headbutt one of them to death, and that works about as well as you'd expect. The Lerva on the enemy team has just claimed his 2nd Tier 10 kill. He's knocked out a Gorilla 15 and an E100. Ah, you see, Jingles, that's why the Tier 10s prioritise the Tier 8s first. Maybe not. Kill steal on the Jaegeroo with 34 health remaining. And then he makes Billy big steps and gets the hell out of there as the other Jaegeroo comes around the corner. Now he's got 3 shots remaining, which is not enough to kill the T-110E4, who has this 113 cowering around the corner in front of him. But remember that E4's gun is aimed, ready at whatever comes around that corner. So how the hell he misses that shot, I will never know. Don't wait, it's an E4, and missing shots is what they do. Still can't kill him without help though. Enter the 113, who does come around the corner and do exactly what TJ Cat was waiting for him to do. And I'm going to count that as a spot of luck, actually, because the number of times I've been in this exact situation, and the friendly tank just sits there waiting for you to die before he comes out and takes the shot. Well, let's just say it's happened far too often for it to be funny anymore. And this is where TJ Cat gets insanely lucky again. He thinks he can make it down the road and around the side of that Jaegeroo before he turns his gun around. He's wrong. Enter friendly artillery, shakes half of his health off and blows off his tracks. If not for that artillery shot, TJ Cat would have been a very, very dead batchat once again. But his ridiculous run of luck is not yet over, because with the second to last round of ammunition in his magazine, he sets the Jaegeroo on fire, and so saves himself the price of replenishing that last round of APCR. So, that was TJ Cat in the Batchat on Paris. And any one of those incidents would have been enough for anybody to send the replay in saying, Jingles, look at this, it was hilarious. Feature it in an episode of Why You Have to Be Mad. But to have all of those in the same battle in such a short period of time, that game was over in 5 minutes. I mean, you lucky bastard. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.